Yeah, I'm just flying my sign. I've got money. I've got drugs. I've got cigarettes. I'm good. And yeah, I meet this lady pulls up on me one day and is like, yeah, talking about Jesus and some like stuff I didn't want to hear about. Gives me like a joint or something and a sandwich and went on her way. And then the lady comes back a couple months later. Same thing, sandwich. She's on her way.
Nice Christian lady.
Nice Christian lady doing the right thing, feeding the homeless community, right? Testing 1, 2. What? This is my camera, right?
Yep.
Yeah, duh. Okay.
So we're doing a special kind of episode today.
Yeah.
I think it's about time we introduce ourselves to our viewers, our audience.
Because who are we, really, you know?
Right, that's what I'm
Just
saying.
a couple of guys
Like,
talking to people, like, who the fuck are we?
We have to qualify ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, people understand why do we get to interview these people.
Yeah. Like,
right?
Yeah, I mean, like, what? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
good.
So we're gonna qualify ourselves, and today, I have the privilege of interviewing my co-host, Aaron Garnes.
Hey, that's me. It's good to be here.
Which I'm excited about. It's kind of to me, it feels more like an interrogation
Great. I love
than
it. Break out the water.
than an interview. Because
Yeah.
I know you're coming after me when you get your chance.
I'm just going to let you tell your story, you know?
No, thank you so much.
No judgment here on
Thank you so much.
behalf. There'll be some judgment for sure. Yeah.
So tell me and tell our viewers how you were raised and what your life looked like as a child.
Yeah, that's cool. I had so pretty normal childhood. My dad was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. Nothing, huh?
Is that real?
That's not real. No.
Okay,
sorry.
okay.
No. I mean, I had I thought it was a normal childhood, right? Like, yeah, mom and dad. My dad, he's an addict, like one of us, right? But I didn't know it like during childhood. It wasn't until like even nowadays, like I find out how bad he actually was. I saw it like towards the later half of my childhood, but like
As you got
the first
older.
half, I wouldn't have guessed because like every year for Christmas, like stacked presents under the tree. Dad was always around. He worked a lot, but he was like, he's always there. Always had everything I wanted, everything I needed. Like it was fairly normal for the first like 10 years of my life. Like life was good.
As far as you could tell.
As far as I could tell, yeah. Like I don't remember my mom and dad like ever having any problem. But like I guess what did I know? I'm young kid that like is pretty self-absorbed. And really my interest is like my life was like, I'd get up, I'd go to school, I'd come home, I'd play with my toys, and I'd go to bed, and that was what I knew of my life. But yeah, it turns out my things weren't good at home.
Okay.
My dad, bless his little heart, like he was in Vietnam. He never did like any real action or anything. He was like, I don't know.
But he was drafted.
He signed up.
Okay.
So he was in the Air Force. And then while over in Vietnam, apparently he developed quite the heroin habit.
Yeah.
Like,
which is not uncommon.
No, it's a
from what I
real
understand.
thing. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, dad gets a heroin addict or a habit. He comes home and then tries to do the honorable way of like getting off the shit. Tries methadone, just gets hooked on methadone, and then some point in the process, getting off methadone, he gets into like the cough syrup, like the codeine or the I don't know what they call it. Vicodin is what I remember it by.
Well, I think it's called like scissor.
Scissor, the lean. Yeah, I don't think they had that back in the day. It was just like liquid Vicodin. They probably did, but so like my dad gets hooked on that shit pretty bad. Gets in some legal trouble for like writing fake scripts for cough syrup.
Okay.
And then I guess that's when like things start going down the shitter, right? So I'm living my best life. I got everything I need. And my mom and dad, I noticed like they're fighting a lot more. I'm probably 10 at this point in life. And then they just dropped the bombshell on me like, hey, we're splitting up. We're getting divorced.
How'd you feel?
I don't think I remember caring. I remember like I went that night. I had this like buddy of mine that lived down the street, and I just like went over to his house and stayed the night. And they like I told his parents for some reason. I was like, yeah, mom, dad are getting divorced.
Yeah, because you were just like, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. And they're like, oh my God, are
happening.
you okay? Are you okay? I was like, yeah, I think so. Why? Like,
Is that not normal?
is that not? Yeah. But so yeah, then my excuse me, my dad, he ends up. I don't know how this worked either because he kept the house, right, and my mom moved out.
Okay.
And then they gave me the choice of like, who do you want to stay with, mom or dad? Mom was always by the book, the rules.
Obviously, dad.
So yeah, I'm staying with dad. Dad's the cool one. And yeah, I'm like 10. So first year or two, I think like this is sweet, man. I'm just going to school. I don't notice anything weird going on, but then yeah, I'm probably 11 or 12, and then I noticed like dad's in the bathroom a lot. So like I get home from school, he gets home from work, and my dad stays in that bathroom
Straight to the bathroom.
Rest of the evening. So my house, like it was a decent house, but we only had like one working bathroom. So like anytime anybody had to do anything in the bathroom, it was like so it used to be like, all right, if you have to pee, you give dad an hour to get out of the bathroom. So you yell in like, I gotta pee, and he's like, oh, okay, and then
this is like this is like a rule, like you knew to
yeah,
do
this is what you learned to do, because like if you had to take a shit, you had to pee, you're not getting in there immediately.
Right,
So it's like now it's a system where like, yeah, if you got to pee.
So you got to kind of plan ahead.
Yeah. If I have like an inkling of a piss or shit coming, like, all right, it's time to start like booking my time in the bathroom.
Okay.
So yeah, dad's in there and like I would find paraphernalia laying around, but I never knew what it was. Like I find chore all the time.
Okay.
And I don't know, like I didn't even know.
Chore is what you put in like a crack pipe.
Yeah, to keep it from
coming through.
Yes,
basically.
it's like a filter for crack.
Right.
Yeah, but I didn't know like what the fuck's going on, so I didn't even picture it. And I remember one time I found a rig in the bathroom too, and for some reason like that didn't strike me as weird as a 11-year-old kid. Like, why would there be a needle in the bathroom? I just assumed like. But then, I'm in middle school at this point, and I'm starting to like put the pieces together. I happened to find some of his like old weed. So for some reason, my dad wasn't really a pothead, but he always kept old weed around.
Okay.
So like I go into his room one day and I find like this old brown, dried up weed, smoke it, love it. And then, like, I'm off to the races becoming a pothead.
Okay.
So
one time and you fell in love.
One time, loved it. Yeah, like, I remember I was at my buddy's house. His mom, she didn't really care what we did. She let us smoke cigarettes and do whatever. And I just remember, like, and this is probably, like, a white trashy, like, as white trash as it could possibly get. This house was 2 bedrooms, 1 floor, 12 dogs. Right, and they know the house stank to high hell.
Yeah.
In the middle hallway, where the bedrooms are, there's the bathroom, and this is where the dogs would shit and piss. Right, and so it's just covered. They never let them outside to go.
They would use the bathroom in that 2-bedroom house.
Yeah, so they just lay some newspaper on the ground, and these 12 dogs are just going to town in this hallway, man. And I look back at it now, I was like, why would I ever go over there, man? But then I find out like, as life evolves, like just because I could do whatever I wanted over there. So my dad, he gets in some trouble with some loan sharks at this point. So he's got a business he started, and it does really well. He's making like $150K a year, and this is the 90s, man. Yeah. So he's making great money, but like he never has any money at this point in life. And
smoking it all.
But he's doing like, shooting, smoking, like whatever he can get his hands on, he's doing. So yeah, we find out that he's getting in some trouble with, he's writing bad checks in his own company, gets involved with some loan sharks, owes them a lot of money. And then this is like the pivotal point in my life where I find out like, yeah, just how bad dad is. So he kind of told me about the loan shark thing. I'm still living with him full time. My sister was living with me too, but my mom got her out of there.
Okay. I'm assuming when you say got her out of there,
yeah, like
it means to like keep her safe.
Because like my sister's not gonna. She's 5 years younger than me. She's not gonna put up a fight. She's just gonna do it. Me, I'm not going.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to go live with you and my stepdad. Like I'm good on that. So yeah, my dad, he tells me like, hey, I owe these people money. If anybody knocks on the door, just don't answer the door.
And you're 12?
12, yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. So it happens one time they come up and they knock on the door, and I just assume I didn't think anything of it. So they come up, knock, left, fine. Maybe a week later, there's another knock on the door, so I just go by. I turn the TV off, I duck down, and I'm just waiting for them to leave. And then next thing you know, bricks start flying through my window. They got a baseball bat, pound on the front door. And so I hightail it and run my ass out the house, like terrified. I think like
I'm assuming you thought you were gonna die.
I thought I was gonna die. Yeah, like these people, bats. I didn't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, I got the hell out of there. Then my mom gets hip to that, and yeah, she forcefully removed me from my dad's house at that point in life. And then my dad goes on the run.
Okay.
But before going on the run, I remember the last time I saw him before he like disappeared for a while. I think it was me. He gave me a letter like to give to my mom that said like, "Hey, if I end up dead, here's
read this."
Yeah, give this to the cops.
Okay. Oh.
And yeah, and I never read it. I gave it to my mom. And like funny story, I was at my mom's house a couple weeks ago, and
That's right.
And I was thinking about bringing the letter here and like reading it aloud.
Have you read it?
I've never read it yet.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. So it's good. It's
your mom
thick.
has read it, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then because like I don't know the story behind the loan sharks. I don't know like how that worked or anything like that.
Obviously, if they're coming with bats and bricks.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, so he owes us some, and which is like it's also insane. Like it goes to show you like make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And it's never enough, man. Never enough.
No.
So I go to my mom's. At this, like I wasn't like I didn't like really enjoy life then, but it was like the same. I knew like at home I could do whatever I wanted. School sucked because like I didn't really care. I was getting in trouble quite a bit. But now this meant like taking me from this place that I've been my whole life at this point, have friends, and moving me all the way out to like the sticks where my mom lived. Didn't know anybody.
That's like your comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, like, and then your mom is like bedtime's at 10.
Yeah.
No fucking around. There's no wiggle room there at all. Yeah, I go out there and I absolutely hate it, man. It's like day one. I remember it's a tiny school. There's like probably 500 kids in the whole school. Okay. So I go in, and I'm obsessed with wrestling at this point in my life, right? So I'm like, all right, I go and I pick my finest wrestling shirt, and I wear some like track pants, and I was just like, cool. I'll walk on the bus, and somebody's gonna be like, oh, you got a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt on. And then I get on the bus, and like, yeah, somebody immediately is like making fun of me because my shirt is like oversized, and he's like, where'd you get that shirt, Walmart, bud? And I was like, okay, that kind of set the tone of life in this new town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely hated it, man. It was a weird point in life too, because I'm, high school age. I'm like going through the changes of a boy, and yeah, I just look weird, and it's insecure.
It's uncomfortable. It sucks. I don't think anybody is going to tell you that transition from middle school to high school is fun.
No, it's and like I was already like even at my old school, like I already was like so terribly insecure. But I had friends, so I could just like hang out with friends. Now I'm just like I'm sticking out, man, big time. And then, yeah, I had no friends. I would come home every day and tell my mom how much I hated being there, how miserable it was. And then another scheme idea I had was I used to be into this like really, it's called Japanese death match wrestling, right? Okay. And where they like beat each other with light bulbs and thumbtacks and barbed wire.
Okay.
So like I watched that and it really made an impact on me. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll go to school and I'll just do stupid shit like these people do, and I'll just
sounds like Jackass.
It's like a really fucked up Jackass. Like if Jackass stepped it up. So yeah, I go to school and I remember I'm outside of the cafeteria. There's like a bulletin board. It had some thumbtacks on it, right? So I pick one off and I just like walk up to this random girl and I was like, hey, watch this. So I take it off and I like pop it in my arm, and then just another wave of like.
You thought you
shame.
were just she was gonna be like, oh my god,
like
that was
drop
so
the pants
hot.
now, yeah. Like, wow, this guy is fucking cool, man. And it didn't work like that at all, man. This girl was like
she
freaked
out, like ran away.
She was she's like, you were fucking weird, and then walked off, man. And that just that killed me. And like I would have thought that would have been enough to be like, okay, this isn't gonna fly here. So then I fast forward maybe like a week or two, and then I'm sitting in my math class, and I had one friend there who I'd known. So I got into like wrestling, right? I've always been obsessed with like Hulk Hogan and WWF. So like I found this place that would try. They had like a wrestling ring in Columbus where I was living. weaseled my mom into signing the waiver for me to go there as a kid. So I thought I was like, all right, cool, I got this at least. So in wrestling, they do this thing like when people bleed, they like take a razor blade and they cut their forehead, and that's how you bleed in wrestling. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like one day I'm sitting in math class and this kid, that was my one friend at the time, for some reason had a razor blade that he brought to school with him. And he's like, hey man, you should cut yourself in school and like see what happens. I was like, yeah, that sounds like a really brilliant idea.
You're in high school.
And again, I'm in high school.
Okay.
I have no friends, and I'm thinking like this will pop them. This will like get me my standing ovation, man. So I go and I do it, and I look up at him. I'm like, yeah, is it working? He's like, no, do it again. I was like, okay. So I go and I do it again, nothing. He's like, all right, you got to do it harder. So then I finally do it, right? And then just I could feel the warm coming over my face. And I'm sitting in the middle of math class. I don't know where my thinking has gone at this point, but the teacher, like, unbeknownst to me, like, discreetly walks out of the classroom, and then, like, I make my big reveal, and it just faces like looking at me like I'm Charles Manson
like you're
or something.
A psycho.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, maybe like tomorrow when I come in, that's when the street cred will kick in. So I get called down to the principal's office, and the guidance counselor was like, hey, I heard you're cutting yourself in math class. And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And meanwhile, like, yeah, I'm gushing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hide it.
I can't hide it, right? So, yeah, they call my mom, and it becomes this, like, big spectacle about how, it's a cry for help or something like that.
Sort of
and it probably was at the point, but, like, no, I was just trying to make friends. And then I have to go home and explain that to my mom. Yeah, it was pretty ugly, man. It's pretty I don't know what I was thinking. Like, why would that impress anybody?
Well, looking for attention, whatever.
Just any way I can get it, yeah. So it didn't work out. But in high school, like I said, that small little wrestling thing that I was doing in Columbus, they go around and they do like these smaller shows in like high school gyms, and the guy that I was like working with at the time was like, hey, we're gonna put on a show at your high school, right? I was like, oh, okay, that'd be cool, right?
Here's your chance.
Yeah, now I'm on, right?
Yeah.
But this time, like, so they did it, and it was a big deal in this little town, man. Like, they brought in a bunch of guys that were previously on TV, and, like, there's nothing to do in this town, so it was kind of a big deal, and I remember, like, the gym was packed. So I go out there, I do my thing, and that's kind of where it all changed for me in high school, man. That's kind of where I found my, like, okay, this is what I do. Or this is like my little, I don't know, but it worked somehow. So I get on the bus the following Monday, and I remember like these two dudes were sitting there like, bro, that was fucking awesome, man. I was like, I was trying to play it cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just what I do. Sorry. And it was, I was like 15. Like it was probably terrible, man. But after that, then I started like, and I was still like pretty desperate for friends. So I was like the funny guy in high school. So, I started really getting into my social circle in high school. Started liking it a little more. I didn't do great in high school as the class clown guy. I was just there to entertain people. But I made it through high school. And here's where I fucked up is that, like, the day I graduated high school, my dad's kind of back in the picture. I'm going to his house on the weekends.
He's come back?
Yeah. Okay. And it's same old, same old. He's like, I can smoke weed over there. He'll buy me beer, whatever.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, do whatever I want. So the day I graduate high school, I have my little graduation party. I go back to my dad's house. And, at this point, I'm, like, wrestling at these smaller venues on the weekends and making a little bit of money, not anything to live on. But I got dropped on my head one night, and I came home, drove home back to Columbus, and my dad was like, oh, here, you should try these. And he gave me a couple of Vicodin 10s, like the blue
for the pain
lower tabs. Yeah. And as soon as I did that, man, I knew like this is what I was meant to do.
Yep.
So I'm doing like the wrestling thing on the weekends, having a good time. Don't have any real responsibilities or a job or anything like that. And then somehow I weaseled my way into an apartment. I do that for a while, and then the pills take over completely. Like
So you're smoking weed and
just
Vicodin,
just doing
just
some
kind
pills
of just whatever's
every now
around.
and again. Yeah, whenever I
Okay.
can get them. And then like I was working at Walmart at the time when I got the apartment. I had like a constant paycheck coming now. So yeah, every time I get paid, I would go buy a bag of weed and I'd spend the rest of my money on pills for the rest of the week.
And you're good.
Yeah, and Walmart had this sweet thing. When you were an employee there, you can get cash advances, right?
On your paycheck.
On your paycheck, yeah.
Oh,
All you
wow.
need to do is have like an assistant manager or one of the managers call up to the cash thing and said, "Hey, he needs."
Do they
$40
keep
on
part
the
of? Do
check."
they keep like a percentage of the check?
No.
Oh wow. So
Nothing.
you can just
Like,
get an advance.
You get it. They take it out of your check. That's it.
Great for a drug addict.
Perfect. For
Any
a
amount
drug
you
addict.
want.
I
Or
think
up
it,
to
I think
like
it was up to
right. Okay.
Yeah, like whatever half your normal
Sure.
paycheck would be. So yeah, I was like scathing by doing that. Wasn't really paying my rent. I even like started fucking up like the good thing about Walmart, and like so now all the managers were hip to me like coming to get cash
Yeah.
advances. So then I started calling myself like, "Hi, this is Chad from Electronics. We're gonna send him up there to get a $50 cash
Jesus.
advance." Yeah, they caught on to it. They pulled me into the office and they're like, "Hey, we noticed this is going on, and we got a call from Chad and Electronics, giving a fake whatever." So then I just flat out told him, like, "Listen, guys, like, I've got a drug problem."
Wow.
Yeah. And it wasn't because, like, it was the honorable,
Did
like,
they try to
cry
help
out
you?
thing. Yeah, they kind of did. But like I said, I didn't do it because, like, I was trying to get help. I did it because, like, oh, okay, they'll feel bad for me.
Yeah, right, to
I'll
get out
weasel
of
my
it,
way
kind
out of
of,
it.
yeah.
So then they set up a thing where, like, all right, well, we'll keep your job here. You go to treatment.
Yeah. Okay.
So I found some like bullshit thing at where I work now. It was outpatient. You go for 2 hours. Made it one day. I did it. I was like, this fucking sucks, man. I'm good. And then never went back. Lost the job, right? And right around this time too, I found a guy. He had sickle cell anemia, right? Which is like, it's only, I think black people are the only ones that get it, but it's like a blood disease, causes like terrible pain.
Okay.
So this guy had a bag, like an IV bag, hooked to him at all times, and the bag was full of Dilaudid. So I didn't know what that was.
Dilaudid
is
a-
like the pinnacle of
it's amazing.
drugs.
Yeah.
So I'm telling him like, "Hey, do you know where to get some pain pills?" Because he'd always tell me like he got pain pills too. He's like, "No, I don't have any pills at the moment, but like I've got this, like I can give you a shot of like in my IV bag." I was like, "Whoa, bud, that's big time stuff."
Okay.
I was like, "All right, I guess I'll try it." So yeah, I did it, and then
How?
he had, I don't know. So like he could push a button every
Right.
whatever it was. So then we just like, there was an IV and then it had like a little offshoot, and then they had the part that goes into his arm. So you can block the part that goes into his arm off, stick a rig in the other one, and just pull it out. And then as soon as I felt that, man, I was like,
So you had like this fucking like
I'm like
it's like
I'm
a
like,
Y.
Yeah.
And you turn his side off. You hook a rig up
I'm
to
like
the other
siphoning
side,
his gas.
and
yeah.
then into your arm.
I don't like shoot it in him. I just pull it into a rig and then I'm muscle popping it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
not like, we're not like double IV hooked up
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But yeah, as soon as I did it, man, like it was the greatest feeling I've ever felt. in my life.
Shooting Dilaudid is,
buddy.
you can't describe. I can't describe it with words.
No, like there's heroin, yeah, cool, but like
No, it's.
if you want to like get high and not die.
I always said it takes my breath away.
Oh yeah.
And like it almost brings me to my knees.
Every
like
time.
it's such a powerful rush.
And then like you feel like you want to throw up, and like to most people, like you throw up, like
Yeah.
oh I don't this is not. I'm like yes,
Yeah.
that was good.
Insane, dude.
And then it was just a downhill fucking adventure for the rest of my life at that point. So I became hooked on the Dilaudid. Now I needed this guy, and like now that, because he would use me every now and again, like give him ride places, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll just give you another thing." I was like,
Which
cool.
I'm sure you're cool with.
I'm great with that.
Yeah, it's
I'll ride you
awesome.
around all day.
Right.
But then he like the power shift started to happen where he realized what he had.
Yep.
Here's the ridiculous part, right? He would charge me like, the flush, like IV flush things. Like the big, like if you're getting an IV in the hospital, what they flush it with after they give you meds. He'd give me one of those for $10, full, all the way to the top, like full for $10. Then he realized what he had, price went up a little
changed.
bit. Yeah, it was like
Still probably worth the money.
$30 a shot.
Yeah.
Still a great deal. But then I'm like calling him every day, and then I'm like
That
showing up to his
sucks.
house. He lives with his parents, so I'm like banging on his window at 2 a.m. His parents come out. So I lost that connection, and
To the streets you go.
yeah, more or less. So I don't know how old. I was probably 19, 20. No, I was like 20. So I'm like, fuck, man, what am I gonna do? I can get it through another friend that also talks to this guy too, but I'm paying ridiculous prices. So this is where my trip to the nursing home comes in.
Yeah.
I had no place to go. I've lost the apartment. My parents are kind of done with me. My dad's, he's in his little fucked up world at this point too. So there's a guy I wrestle with. He let me stay at his house. I've known him for a while now, and I know his mom is like a delusional schizophrenic lady. And yeah, he would tell me all the time that like, yeah, when she acts crazy, we give her the stuff, and she's out cold, right? So I get the brilliant idea. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Like, I can go upstairs, I can get that medication, right? I just pop myself a little bit. I sleep for a couple days.
Yeah.
I wake up. I'm not an addict anymore.
So the plan is to sleep through the withdrawals.
The withdrawal, yeah. Because
Okay.
a lot of withdrawal is like, I've been through heroin withdrawal, and it's terrible. The worst thing ever.
Dilaudid
But,
is worse?
I think so. Because it's
Okay.
like pure fucking ecstasy.
It's probably really intense, and
Yeah.
it doesn't last as long.
It was, it was, I don't even know how to explain. It was terrible. So yeah, I get the, it's called Haldol, right? And I go up there, and for some reason I was really ballsy, man. Instead of just like taking what I
little bit.
needed, I took the whole bottle, right?
Okay.
So next day I wait till I leave his house, and I don't know where I'm at this point, but yeah, I go and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try this shit out. So I pull out my needles, and yeah, I pull up a rig, muscle pop it. I don't feel anything. So like, all right, what to do now? So, you know, I just need more. It's just not.
To
I didn't
knock you
take
out.
enough because I don't know the dosing, whatever, right? So then I load up another rig full. I pop it. I wait an hour. I'm like, dude, what's going on here? Well, it works on her, and this lady's 400 pounds.
Right. Right.
How much could they possibly give you? So I end up doing one more, and then like nothing happens the rest of the night. So I've given up on this idea
Fuck it.
now. Fast forward a few days, I'm driving in my car, and my body starts like spazzing out and twitching. Like I get stuck in this like weird Michael J. Fox pose where like I'm locked up and I can't control my body.
Do you know in that moment it's the Haldol? Or...
Not a clue.
Okay, so you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
I'm on the way to go get more Dilaudid, so I'm assuming I'm just withdrawing. That's
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay.
And I knew, like, when I got the shot of Dilaudid, I felt better. The thing went away. Like, all the whatever went away. Yeah, and then a couple days later, again, hit me hard. I'm in the middle. I'm driving to go get more Dilaudid. I get stuck, and I, like, have to pull over to the side of the road. I had to call. And I was like, hey, Mom, I think something's wrong with me. I got to go to the hospital. My mom thought I was lying to her just so I can go whatever, milk sympathy to get into her house. I get to the hospital. My stepdad's with me, and it's just like full on hitting me now. I was fine when I went to the hospital other than like the locking up. I get checked in.
At this point, do you know?
Not really.
Okay.
Maybe no, not really.
Not crossing your
I'm
mind.
pretty oblivious.
You're just like, what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know I think maybe I'm having a stroke or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I'm in the ER, and like they go and they check me into the room, and I remember like it just like quickly escalated to like the getting stuck in the whatever you call it, to like I couldn't talk, I couldn't move, and like now they're like, well, what's going on here? And
Nobody can figure it out.
I
You
can't
can't
talk.
tell them.
I don't think it's the Haldol, so I don't think to tell them. Like,
Right.
I just shot up a whole bottle of Haldol, so I don't think to tell them that because I don't think that's what it is.
Right.
So yeah, I'm in the hospital for a week, and they don't have the slightest clue what's wrong with me. And then they were sending me off to get some big time test that's like expensive and rare. And then like I tried like to the best of my ability, like telling them like, oh, it could be this because I did all this like Haldol.
So
and like it's a psychotic drug, man. Like I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me. To not think like this is the cause.
Right,
Obviously, if you
right.
do a whole bottle.
An entire bottle.
So yeah, I finally am able to figure out or like get my message to them that it's Haldol that I took, and they're like, well,
Time to wait
we
it
don't
out.
know because like he called my friend, like somehow they like when my phone got my friend's mom's number, right, to like, all right, what's the normal dose on this?
Uh-huh.
And then like, well, the whole bottle's gone. And they're like, well, did you do the whole bottle? I was like, yeah, probably most of it anyway. And they're like, well, this is bad, bud. Like, this is not good for you. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to wear off or not. They say, like, the half-life on it's 90 days. So
Oh, my God.
if you don't get better in 90 days, then this is your life now. And I'm trapped inside my brain. I can function mentally. Physically, I can't move.
Can't do anything.
No. And I remember, like, one of the most humiliating things in my life is that I'm a 20-year-old kid in the hospital, and then, like, I have to have my mom sponge bath me in the hospital.
Yeah, that's...
But it's the most, there's no coming back from that. Like, you can't look cool when you're getting sponge bath by your mom.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
It was...
It's a low moment.
But, yeah, so they don't know what to do with me at this point. It's like, well, it's a waiting game, so... we're going to put you in this, like, assisted living / nursing home until we figure out
At
what
20?
Yeah, 20. I think I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah, so they moved me into the nursing home, and, yeah, that place was, like, a whole shit show in itself, man.
What's that like? I mean, you're in there with, 70, 80-year-olds?
Yeah, crippled people with, like, really fucked up problems, man. Like, my guy that I moved into my room with, he had, I don't know what he had, scolio. I don't know what it was, but he was like bound up in a wheelchair. All his body parts were like, and
Like
then he had like
tense.
a breathing tube in his throat too. So like every night, my first night in there, I don't have a TV in there. I'm just laying in my bed. And then like I hear the nurse come in and start suctioning his throat out. And it's the most god awful sound you've ever heard in your life. So it's just...
I can only imagine what you were thinking in that moment. Like,
yeah,
this is it.
This is hell. I would, yeah, if I could imagine how hell would be if it was real, that would be it.
How long does it take you to come out of that?
So I think I was in there a total of 90 days, right? And maybe about, it was probably at least 2.5 months into it. Like, one day I just was like my dad was taking me to a movie. So my dad, and to his credit too, he's a full-on pillhead at this time, right? Had a full-time job, but he would come drive 45 minutes after he got up work every single day to come and just chill with me.
That's nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like I can't like talk completely bad about him because he's
Right.
there every single day. My mom lived 10 minutes away and came twice my whole stay there. So yeah, he's taking me to a movie one day, and then like we're walking out to go see the movie. The nurse is like, well, what are you guys gonna go see? And I like blurted it out somehow. And like everybody looked at me and was like, what? And then it just like magically got better.
Just started getting better from that point.
Yeah, but the fucked up part is like I remember when I could start talking again, I would call my buddy. I was like, yeah, you gotta come out and see me. I was like, bring some weed, bring some
drugs.
Xanax, yeah, bring some like whatever you can bring. He's like, bro, you're in a nursing home.
So as soon as you like,
as soon as I could talk, and I remember like trying to talk my dad into bringing me like Valiums. Like
right back to it.
Yeah, like
Jesus
immediately
Christ.
in the nursing home, and then like I don't know how I did this, but like there was some hot nurse there, right? She was kind of new that I started like having this not relationship. We were just like flirty with each other, and I ended up like talking her into like giving me a ride out of there. So I went ANA. She gave me a ride to where I needed to go.
And that was where?
That was at the friend's house with all the dogs.
Okay.
So their family had moved in an apartment. It wasn't such a shithole, right?
Okay.
So, but like the first day out, man, I knew from going over to this apartment, there was a guy who was a drug dealer in the same complex that sold oxys. So I was like, listen, bro, I just got a nursing home. Can you front me an 80?
Sure.
And he did.
Wow.
And then, he came looking for the money. And then that got ugly. So, like, he wants his money. I don't have it, obviously. I've been kicked out of this now apartment that my friend was letting me stay in for a few days. So they come like banging on the door, looking for their money, and it's like, hey, yo, you said if you couldn't pay it, you guys were gonna pay it, and it caused this whole bunch of drama.
When have you not seen legal trouble yet?
Not at this point, no.
When does that come?
Okay, so I moved back in with my father.
Okay.
Right after this point, he gets cancer. He starts being prescribed Dilaudid, right? So I run with my dad where we're in an apartment. I've got some bullshit motel job where I'm paying the rent. He's supplying the drugs. Hunky dory.
Perfect.
It's a great life.
Perfect. Except for the cancer.
Except for the cancer, yeah. But he beats that, blah, blah, blah. So fast forward like 7 years of doing this solid, right? And he starts acting weird one day. It's the beginning of like this blood infection that caused him to die, which is like a whole new like help too, because like I watched my dad rot away before me, right?
Right.
And I didn't make him go to the hospital. I didn't do any of that because like I'm waiting on the next prescription to come in. And I remember it got so bad at one point too, I had to call a friend because it was doctor day, and that was a big day for me, right? We literally wheeled my dad out of there on it was like a chair and a dolly. Like we wheeled him to the car and then like brought him into the doctor's on this fucking like wheel and dolly system.
Script.
Yeah. It was like Weekend at Bernie's. You ever seen that?
No.
Where it's like the guy dies and they pretend like he's still alive and like they're just moving him around.
Roll him into the doctor's
Roll
office.
him into the doctor's and like I've become his like official spokesperson, right? I was like, yeah, doc, he's in a lot of pain. You know, still like it's not looking good for him. We go home. We get brand new script, and then finally, like it got to the point where like my dad was pretty much dead in the chair. I hauled him off to the hospital. Finally, he dies a couple days later. Now,
literally, your dad was dying when you took him to the doctor.
Oh yeah, he was like he couldn't walk, he couldn't talk. He was basically just alive. Like legally only,
right.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It was pretty fucked up, man. And he dies. I'm not working at this point, so like the only thing I have left to my name is this like last bottle of Dilaudid, right? And I go through that, and now I'm homeless, and this begins like the homeless part of my life. This is 2012. I'm homeless. I'm staying in shelters. At this point now, I'm a heroin addict because like. In the meantime, when I was living with Dad, when we didn't have it, we had a heroin dealer that would come over and spot us, whatever. We give him some Dilaudid. So, Dilaudid's cheaper. I mean, not Dilaudid. Heroin's cheaper, so I just start getting that.
And you're full on IV.
Oh, I'm full on,
Like,
at my dad, the IV thing, I swore I'd never do it, right?
Yep.
And then until you do it. And, then I swore I'd never go back to doing it any other way. But, I remember, it got so bad, because that's all I was doing is, we were getting ridiculous. We probably got 700 Dilaudid 8s a month between the two of us.
So many, and the legs are so short on it. You're just
all day. So that's all I'm doing is popping 3 or 4 of these at a time.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm out of veins, and there's points where I just remember sitting in the bathroom. 6 hours is my record. I'm sitting in the bathroom for 6 hours
trying to find a vein. See, I don't think people, or I guess normal people, realize what that really looks like. So, I'm sure you've been there, but, I remember there was this one, that dirty, disgusting apartment where all the drug addicts hang out.
Yep.
It wasn't, I wouldn't classify it as a trap because really it was just more like white trash. It wasn't, they had some drugs, but they weren't really drug dealers. But, you walk in there, there's blood, sprayed on the fucking ceiling, on the walls. The carpet's, brown. It reeks.
And it's insane to think you got an 8-foot ceiling that there's blood splatter all over.
I don't know what it is, why IV drug users spray their fucking blood everywhere, but they do.
Yeah.
And it's this underworld that people don't even know exists.
Yep. And then the poking around, because I would never. I was not the type of IV drug user that would there's a vein, let's go through it. I'm just poke and pray, right? I'm just sticking and I'm wiggling around so I find something. So it was. There's many days where I did that. I spent the day just trying to hit something.
Yeah, I've seen it. I never had the problem. My veins are fantastic, but I've seen people sit for hours
and just
digging,
yelling
in their arms.
at God, you know.
Because if you can't hit a vein, you can't get well.
No, and then you're like progressively getting more sick at the time too.
Right.
So now you're
getting
shaking,
sicker and sicker,
and you're clammy and you're dehydrated. So yeah, you've got no shot.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it was terrible. So yeah, I'm a homeless guy now, and that's like a whole new world and like a way of life that I don't think you can ever get used to, man.
Right.
So in between, I had like a fake stint of sobriety where I went to like treatment for 30 days. I got kicked out of that place for, never my fault. Like it was their, it was a plant job. My mom got me a job working at the fire department that she works at, right? My mom, there's a fire department and then there's like a firemen museum that my mom worked at, but she got me a job working in the office raising money for this museum.
Okay.
I lose that job a couple months into it, and I'm in the homeless shelter. There is my bus stop here, and then there's the trap house here, and then like right in between is where the fire department where I used to work, and it's wintertime, and I need a place to go do my drugs. I know that I can walk in here, go in the bathroom on the second floor. There's no locked doors. Sure. It's an open building.
Perfect.
I can do my thing, get out. So there was 3 nights in a row that I did that. And then, next thing I know, I'm seeing a thing on Facebook. You know, your friends on Facebook share, like when you're at your
Crime
fucking
Stoppers
lowest,
or
the
whatever.
busted picture or whatever it is. And, then I got a call from my mom, like freaking out that like how terrible this looks on her.
You broke into her job?
Yeah. And like, I remember getting offended, like being mad at my mom for like, how dare you? Like, how do you make this about you? I didn't realize like what a shitty move that was.
She could get fired or whatever.
Big time.
Yeah.
Like she took a chance on me, and then here I am. Like, and then the ironic part is like I never stole anything, right? I never broke anything. But there were kids in the parking lot that had been throwing bricks through the firemen's like car windows. So they set up a camera, and they just like happened to see me coming in, and were like, "Wait a minute, that guy doesn't belong here." So that's my first like experience in jail, like real experience in jail.
What did they charge you with?
They originally charged me with like an F5 breaking and entering. Okay. So I go to jail the first time and like it's miserable. I'm dope sick. I'm white. But like, there's always the jailhouse lawyer. Like, bro, this is F5. This is your first felony.
You're good.
Oh, you'll be gone. Yeah.
Probation.
So I'm like, all right, cool. So then they tell me about how the indictment process works. I'm like, it's breaking and entering. 11 days later, I get that indictment, right? And, they hit me with, I went from an F5 breaking and entering to now 3 F2 burglary. I was like, holy shit.
Which is crazy because you didn't take anything. But
nothing at all. But I guess the definition of burglary is like knowingly committing a crime, any crime, in an occupied structure.
I guess technically you did that.
So, the only thing I knew about the law was like F1 was murder. And here I am, F2. Yeah. I'm like,
this is bad.
Yeah, this is terrible, bud. And I'm sitting in the workhouse now for like, my mom won't bomb me out, obviously. My mom was, I think, 50,000.
Yeah.
She ain't touching that, right? So I start going through the Rolodex of numbers I know off the top of my head and, calling bosses that I haven't worked for, that I stole from. And I was like, hey, man, need your help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need you to bomb me out. And, nobody obviously did.
No.
So, I write it out in the workhouse for 6 months. And my first day in jail was terrible, man. I don't know politics of jail. I come from a semi-normal life in, like, the suburbs, right? So I don't know, like, it was miserable. I got fucked with all the time. People taking trays and, like, I'm scared to death.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's normal. Yeah. I was, too.
Scared to death. So they come back with like the first plea agreement or offer to get a better deal.
Which was what?
Which was still a bullshit offer. So the original was like I forget. It's like 4 to 8 per F2, right? So the first deal was like 16 years. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And like I remember at the like my whatever hearing, my bond hearing. They had the crew, like the news crew in there.
Oh.
And I was just like, what is going on in the world? Like, this is all here for me. The guys fucking with me in jail because, like, they thought now that the news was there, the judge was going to be harsher on them.
Oh,
I mean, it was God. Like, it was just a terrible ride all the way around. And it was like, it felt like a nightmare.
Jesus Christ.
So, like, I waited out another month till I get the second deal. And the second deal went from, like, 16 to, like, 3 years. shelf time, right? 3 years probation,
Okay.
but CBCF.
Okay.
So that is, minimum security prison.
Yeah, it's like
a
cognitive
glorified
behavioral therapy.
house arrest-ish, but jail style.
They do like actual rehabilitation.
They do, yeah. They do rehabilitation type stuff, yes. So, yeah, I just want to get out of the workhouse at this point, man. So I, let's go. So I go and I do my little 134 days at the minimum security place, and I get out and I'm on probation. I do the fake sobriety thing for a little bit.
Right.
I fuck it up every time. I go back to jail again, sitting there. I think I was only in there for 2 months that time. They agreed to send me back to CBCF again. So I was just there not even a year ago. So I roll back through, do the 134 days, tell them what they want to hear.
Which is an opportunity, too. That's a privilege. Instead of prison, you have this opportunity to go here.
And it really wasn't bad there.
No.
The food was great, better than the workhouse.
Way fucking better.
You can smoke in there.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool, I'll go do that again. I get out, and then I fuck it up again. And then this time I get busted for violating my probation. I had a job.
This was your one and only real charge.
Never been in charge with anything before. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, first time felony, all that.
Yeah.
Where I fucked myself. I obviously not staying clean, but I worked at this apartment complex. I weaseled my way into a maintenance job there, and they'd give me a free apartment as long as I worked 20 hours a week. Okay, that's cool.
That's insane.
I had it made, man. I had every opportunity to do the right thing and be successful. And I had this free apartment. I was on food stamps, so I didn't need anything. I just don't know how to. I don't know how to take advantage of opportunities like that.
Yeah.
I ended up. So they had this promotion at the apartment complex I was working at, where if you had a problem with something, they had gift cards, right, that they would give you and say, "Hey, we're sorry. Here you go. This is our appreciation." So I got wind of that. I went in. I think there was, what's a felony theft? It's $1,000. I think it was $950 in gift cards. Right under somehow. I didn't care. I didn't add it up, but it just ended up that way. So they have a drawer full of these small gift cards. I don't think they're going to notice me taking one 20 times. So he obviously
were you one-balling them over and
over and over, sneaking.
You're
one
more,
night. Yeah, they're not gonna notice one more.
Next thing you know, they're fucking all gone.
And then they call me into the office and they're like, we know you've been stealing gift cards from us. And I get all high and mighty. I'm like, this is I'm insulted first off, and then there's nothing more shameful than being shown your crime tape.
Yeah.
So they put an office or a camera in the office, and then now I have to watch it. I'm wearing the same hoodie as I'm wearing in the crime itself.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So I get whatever. They call the cops for that. Then I'm on probation already, so I'm screwed. I go on the run. I don't make it on the run ever. Probably 2 weeks later, I go before the judge again, and they're like, "Yeah, you're going to prison for 3 years."
How does that feel? Being in the courtroom.
It's a punch, and 3 years doesn't seem in the.
What were you expecting? Prior to walking in,
probably back we're gonna put you on probation again.
Oh, so you thought?
I thought I was going home, or
Well, you had also had opportunities in the past.
So many,
yeah.
And I used to be resentful. Why would they do that to me? My first, they gave me ample opportunity. They say 3 years, that's a long time for.
Yeah. You can do a lot in 3 years.
Yeah.
Change your life in 3 years. Yeah, that's a long time.
But I remember when they told me, I think I just accepted it immediately, because I remember I had to call my mom now and tell her, and somehow this lady, as much shit as I put her through, she's always, she never bonded me out, which I never expected that.
No.
But she's always put money on my books. She always answers the phones. So I called her and told her they're sending me to prison for 3 years. She's going apeshit, man.
Really?
Yeah, and I remember no, this is okay. I'm good with this. And then I go to prison. I didn't even have a bad experience. I love prison. Prison is probably one of the happier times of my life.
I've heard that before.
It's insane, man.
I've heard people say it's a fucking living hell nightmare, and I've heard people say it's much better than the county jail. It's easy. It's whatever.
I mean, essentially, yeah, because like
You did have like a weird run-in with a Santa Claus type guy your first
my
day.
first day, yeah. So like, all right, prison. I go through CRC, which is like the holding before you go to your parent institution. That was terrible. You're in lockdown, 23 hours. It's the middle of summer when I go.
Right.
There's no AC. I'm trapped in there with my like 400-pound Aryan brother, Bunky, who likes to like close the windows and work out. So yeah, I get to pick away, and I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. It's not what I've seen. It's not like the cells like in prison. It's like camp style bunks. So I get there and I finally get settled in. And I'm like walking around and putting my shit away. And this old man comes up and he's like, "Hey, blah blah blah." And, like, he seemed friendly, so I start talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, I'll give you a tour of the place if you want." It's like, "Oh, thanks, man. That's really nice of you." Yeah, so I would take you up on that. Gives me like walks me around the yard. Like, oh, this guy's cool, man. I think I found my first friend. Everything's normal. And then he takes me to the library. Well, it's like the chow hall, the library. It's one big building. So we go in the door. As soon as we walk in the door, there's a stairwell up to the library. And he's like, "Yeah, this is the library. This is where people go to have sex." And he points under the stairs. And I was like, "Ah." Huh, that's cool. That's
All right,
funny. That's,
good to know.
I thought he was just busting my chops. Like, yeah, I bet they do. And then like we go upstairs to the library, and like he's showing me around. He's like, "That's where the good books are." And then he points to like the library bathroom. He's like, "Hey, that's where they go to have sex." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I think I know what's going on here.
Yeah.
I think I know what's happening here." So like it was one of those moments, like, we're like, all right, well.
It's like it's literally like out of a movie.
Yeah, it's in like a weird movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I've always heard like, yeah, you just can't let people think you're sweet, man. So I'd like, I was like, I don't know what the fuck you think is going on here, old man, but like, I'm not gonna fuck you in the bathroom. like we're done here. You say
Thank you
this
for the
one
tour.
more time, I'm gonna smack you. And like I was probably, I wasn't anything tough or anything, but I knew I could take this old man. But that was my introduction. And I was like, "Oh, this is fucking weird."
And it was smooth after that.
After that, man, but like I didn't go, like, somebody told me the smartest, like, if you just don't go looking for trouble, like it won't find you. I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions where like people are whatever, but like no, I stayed my ass. Like at this point, this is where I started having like, all right, maybe drugs aren't working out for me. So like I do everything I could possibly do.
That's the first time that thought.
First,
your
like
mind.
real thought, I was like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. And this is where like I've tried every which way to like not do drugs and be successful. I can't do it. So maybe like I'll just like go along. And like the judge told me too that if I did good, I could judicial out in 6 months. So I just went in, got all the certificates I can do. I had probably 6 or 7 lined up in that 6-month period. I sent my judicial off, denied. So, I wrote my bid out there, and then they sent me somehow to like this treatment transfer thing that I didn't sign up for, but it was all the way out in Grafton, and did my time. I did 2 years there, and then part of that treatment transfer was like you spend the rest of your days in a halfway house.
Halfway house.
Yeah, so I spent 11 months at the Alba's house.
Okay.
Again, like,
you feeling pretty good about things at that point?
no, because like as soon as I got out of prison, man, I made it to Alba's house. Like my day one,
drugs everywhere.
Dude was like, "You want to go do a speedball?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've never done that before."
Day
so
one in the halfway house.
Day one, man. And I'm
you
like,
want to go do a
I
speedball?
was like, "Yeah, I do." And the halfway house, like, it was sweet too because like you can go work there.
Yeah.
And like they
You get
give
a lot
you
of freedom.
Suboxone in the halfway house. So that's like my first. That's where I became hooked on Suboxone.
So ridiculous.
I eventually got a job at the hotel, right?
Yep.
And then I just like was buying everybody's Suboxones, and the like anybody that went to get Suboxone, I bought their.
Because you had a
Suboxone.
job.
Had a job, yeah. And I had like food stamps, so I didn't need anything really.
Right.
I had cigarettes, and so yeah. Then I just got hooked on Suboxone. While I was in the halfway house, I was in there with a guy. Oh, while I was in prison, there was a guy from Columbus that like was kind of my friend. He'd owned some condo out here, big nice fancy place. But he always told me like when you get out, look me up. You can come crash with me. And you just think like it's just that bullshit prison. So I ended up in the halfway house with him. He leaves a couple months before I do. He's like, "Remember when you get out, call me. You can come stay with me." So I set it up like a month before I get out. I call him and he's like, yeah, you want to come check the place out? So I go and it's this big fancy fucking condominium, right?
Yep, right
I'm
here.
still in the halfway house. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're cool with this? He's like, yeah, give me $100 a week. We're cool. So I'm still in the halfway house taking a tour of his place. And he's like, you want to smoke some crack before you get back? I was like, buddy, yes, I do.
Wow.
So yeah, I get out and I'm living in this place, and this is where like the most insane part of my life takes place. Is I don't know how I'm alive.
I was
through
picking
this.
your ass up from there at one point
Yeah, I
for
remember
work
that.
and
Yeah,
shit.
I remember that. And like somehow I like, so the guy, he was very rich, right?
Obviously.
And he just had retarded amounts of drugs always laying around. So like he would always give me drugs, but that was never enough for me. So I'd wait till he left, then I'd go sneak up in his room and just like what this guy had lying around. This wasn't even like the main stash. It was like more than I've ever had at one time in my life. So
it's like one of those you have to see it to believe it kind of
thing. It
things.
was insane. Like he just had probably $300 worth of crack just laying there. That's his like crack table where he just.
Insane.
Yeah, so that's when like real insanity is like, all right, I'm doing heroin at this point because this guy does everything: meth, heroin, anything you can want to do, he does. So like I'm dabbling in everything. That sends me on a psychotic fucking episode pretty quickly.
Break.
Yeah. So I lose my job at the hotel, right? Because I was doing some shady shit.
It became obvious.
Yeah. Like I thought I was like
the days
fucking
of hiding
drug addict
it.
too. I thought I was like really good at
the thing is, I don't know exactly how long you hit it for me for. You were getting high the whole time?
the whole time.
Okay, so you hit it for me for
But it started out, I was
minute.
just getting high on Suboxone.
Okay.
But then as soon as I moved into that condo, that's when everything.
I mean, there was a point where I was like, okay, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
But I don't remember how long it took.
And then I
for me to
remember at
realize.
the hotel, did I tell you about the crack when I found the crack one time?
No.
Yeah, so I found a shit ton of crack. I was working, it was second shift. I came in, right?
Was I on with you?
I think you worked, I can't remember if you were there or not. I think it was, I don't know who it was, but I go in and they were telling me like the updates of what happened first shift. And they're like, yeah, we had to kick this guy out for like fighting with this girl. And he left this. So if he calls, here it is. So in the bag was just like a bottle of hairspray and a bunch of like key fobs for cars.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool. And then like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this like the rest of the night. I'm like, that's so weird. Why would you leave? Why do you have so many keys, firstly? And why would you leave a bottle of hairspray? So like, I don't know why. I go and I'm like looking through the stuff and like I pull out the hairspray and like I shook it or something. And then I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I bet you. So I popped the bottom off and there's just a boulder of crack hidden in this hairspray bottle.
What?
And I was like, holy shit, bud. Like, this can't be real. Like, this guy's going to be pissed. Like, he's going to call and come get his shit. And then, like, but then I was like, this is kind of the perfect crime, too, because I could take
there's
this.
nothing
He's
he
not,
can do.
He's not
He
going to
can't
be like,
do shit.
yeah, somebody took my crack out of the
the hairspray.
Because, like, I guess the police had already, they found some tour in his room when they came to kick him out. So he's already on like the no-fly. He's already public enemy number one.
Whatever, yeah.
So yeah, then I'm just anytime I have a chance to leave the office, I'm going down to the party rooms. I'm blazing up in there, man.
The conference rooms.
Yeah, blazing up in there. Yeah, I get fired eventually, and then it goes downhill badly. Psychosis, psych hospitals.
Yeah, you had a couple psych stays.
Yeah. Yeah. Point where.
What's the turning point? When I know it's a very unique turning point.
It's a different one, yeah. So I'd become pretty content with like my hustle because I'm not good at committing crimes. My hustle was always like holding up a sign, flying a sign.
Sure.
And I got to a point in life where I was staying at a homeless shelter. I stayed in a homeless shelter for years and flew. You're supposed to be, you go there 30 days later, they're supposed to have a place for you to go, right? I managed to get like 11-month stints out of homeless shelters where I just fly under the radar.
Okay.
And they'd never notice me or never fuck with me. So yeah, I'm in a shelter and yeah, I'm just flying my sign. I've got money, I've got drugs, I've got cigarettes. I'm good. And yeah, I meet this lady pulls up on me one day and is like, yeah, talking about Jesus and some like stuff I didn't want to hear about. Gives me like a joint or something and a sandwich and went on her way. And then the lady comes back a couple months later, same thing, sandwich, she's on her way.
Nice Christian lady.
Nice Christian lady doing the right thing, feeding the homeless community, right?
Yep.
I see her a few more times after that, and like I tolerate this lady because she's like funny, she's good looking, but like really she's interfering with, like me making money.
Your job.
Yeah. So like one day she pulls up and offers me this like picnic on the side of the freeway. We do that, and it's like she's always telling me every time like I see her, she's like, you don't have to like do this. My family, we have a house in Pickerington, and you can. We have a basement that's finished. You can come stay in that. We can like help you get your life together. And I was like, yeah, there's no way that's happening. Again, like great opportunity, right? And like all the tools to be successful. And I'm like, no thank
thanks.
you. I'm good. Like my life right now is pretty good. So she I see her every now and again. She pops by, sandwich, Jesus talk. We move on. I'm going to the back to the shelter one evening. And I'd gotten pretty lazy at this point and pretty complacent as far as like, they'd give you like a minimum search when you get to the shelter. Make sure you don't have drugs or knives. I'd like put my crack in my crack stem and a cigarette pack and just send it on through the metal detector. They find it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They find it. And then like, I'm, I want my crack back. So it gets like, they're telling me I got to go. I'm telling them I want my drugs back. Then I'll go. They're calling the cops, so I hightail it the fuck out of there. It's it's like mid-January. I literally have exploited all my resources. My family, they ain't touching me. No friends to speak of.
Left.
Now I'm like blackballed from the homeless shelters. So like, I'm like, well, shit, man, what am I going to do? So I call the Jesus lady, and she's like, well, yeah, you can come over. I've got this thing going on right now, but like I can come pick you up afterwards. And I had a little bit of crack and heroin held back. So I was like, nah, I'm good for the night.
Right.
So, but I call her the next day because I have nowhere to go. She comes, she picks me up, and like doesn't even think twice about it. Puts me in her basement for this basement was crazy. It was like it had its own little apartment down there. Had like a kitchen area, had a sweet bedroom. TV, Netflix.
All set.
But I'm good. My only problem is like now how am I going to get to the off-ramp every day?
To make money.
So like I've somehow like conned this family into thinking that like I'm just an honorable homeless man. I'm trying to take care of some like past debts, and that's why I panhandle. So like in order for me to stay here, I need a ride, to the ramp. And I'll get back in the evening. I just need a ride there in the morning.
Sure.
So I'm just going about my life, right? It's the perfect situation. I've got a sweet house now. I eat so good. I hang out with this lady when I get home, and I've got my drugs already, so I'm good. I'm chilling with her till 3 a.m. Go to bed, wake up, do it again.
It's amazing.
I
mean, it's not amazing, but it's amazing. If you're living that life, it's fucking amazing.
It almost sounds made up. I wouldn't believe it probably if somebody told me.
Yeah.
So her and I we're starting to hang out more. There's starting to be like some vibes happening between us. I think there always was.
Some romantic vibes.
She's married, has 3 kids, and
you're homeless.
But I am not thinking anything of it. I'm just like, all right, this is fun. I have everything I need, so like, why fuck it up? So I'm out one day. She's talking to me on the phone, like when I'm on break at the off ramp, and her husband overhears the conversation. And was like, wait a minute, why are you talking to him like you're like a teenage girl? And then like she ends up telling him. So then we have a sit down, the 3 of us.
3 of you.
Yeah, and we like he asks what's going on, and we kind of tell him. And the guy, like, bless his heart, man, he did everything he could. He gave me like an ultimatum that said like, I don't want to kick you out. I like you, but like I can't have you being inappropriate with my wife. So like, you can still stay here. You guys just can't talk alone anymore. And like I thought I was doing the honorable thing and like saying like, well, I just can't do that, buddy. I think I love her. And so he kicks me out. And like you think like at that like say somebody just told you that they're messing around with your wife, right? That like I'm gonna kill this dude, right?
Yeah. I mean that would be the natural reaction.
Like and God bless him for it. I'm not like poking fun at him or calling him weak, but like. He's like, all right, man, well, I'll give you a ride wherever you need to go. I'll give you some cash to, like, get you through. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I've sucked this resource dry. It's time to move on to the next. So yeah, like he's taking me back to wherever I'm going. I think my plan was to sleep at the trap until I figured it out. But he goes in the ATM machine and he comes out and he hands me like a stack of 20s, man.
Which is unbelievable.
Like $600. It's like, all right, well, here you go. We'll try to find you an apartment. I'll give you, I'll cover the first 2 months and then like, we'll get you back on your feet. Don't worry. Like still being sweet as can be to me, even though I've just like defiled his
destroyed his family
essentially. Yeah. So I was like, all right, whatever. I had a good run. So I go back to the streets running hard. And then like, he follows up and finds, we go looking for an apartment. He puts me up in this apartment for, 2 months free. And this is so fucked up. And it's like, it's a cute story, but it's really fucked up too. It's like terrible to do to somebody.
Yeah.
Because what he just did by buying this apartment now is just giving us a place to go where we're away from everything. And like my wife, I love her today. Like we're married now, but we did some dirty things. She's got 3 kids with him and she would like slip out every night after they went to bed, come over to my apartment. And,
it's hard. It's like, what's the line between like, oh my God, this is my soulmate.
Yeah.
And I'm a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and
where's that line?
I don't know if I felt any guilt in the process, but yeah, we did this guy and the kids so dirty, man. We were so selfish and it was ugly. So yeah, and then like the lady, I don't know if it's ignorance or just obliviousness, but didn't know I was doing drugs. Then like now I'm around this woman more. She meets my mom. My mom rats me out. They're like, he's a drug addict, right? So yeah, like I remember trying to explain that to her.
Funny. Your mom had been like, "This is like a really nice, normal like lady."
Yeah, like
how he fucking does drugs.
Yeah, he does drugs. Right? And then that just like I was like, well, all right, cool. I'm done with her now. So whatever. But like this woman stuck it out with me and was like, that's when like she kind of tossed the idea of getting clean, right? She's like, well. We loved each other at that point. She's like, well, if this is going to work, or if we have any chance, like, you can't be doing drugs. So I gave it a shot, man. I went to detox, did that 4 or 5 times. I would go. It sounded like a great idea. Day 2, drugs wear off.
Bounce.
Nah, I'm good. But this lady, like, wrote it out with me every single time. So the last time, I successfully complete, and then, like, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do now. And, like, in the meantime of that happening, I went out, like, as soon as I got out from treatment, went and copped a bag. And, like, for the first time ever, I called her and was like, listen, I fucked up. I went out and got high. Whatever. I don't know what to do now. So then her idea to that solution or that problem was, all right, well, we're going to get you out of Columbus. I'm going to take you on vacation for 10 days.
Right.
And then, we'll come back and get you checked in somewhere. So I'm like, all right, cool. Go there. Took me on a beautiful vacation, man. Took me to Tennessee.
First one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd never been on a real vacation. And, I was kind of detoxing at the same time-ish still. Like, I couldn't sleep
Didn't feel great.
But it was like, it gave me a taste of, like, this is, like, what happiness feels like without drugs. So yeah, while I was on vacation, I like just got the idea of like, all right, well, I'm gonna give this like, I'll commit to 30 days of going to treatment. I won't run. Like I will commit. I will give you 30 days. But if I don't like it, I'm not doing it anymore. Like we'll figure out a solution. And yeah, so I did the 30 days. The place I went to was super intensive, right? It was good, but like these people were grilling me alive, man, every single day. I ended up leaving after 30 days. And then usually I leave somewhere, that's it for me. I don't have a plan B, but I had a plan B, had a backup plan, went into this place that was long-term treatment. And yeah, I completed that and I have not looked back since.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, and I know I've said this before in previous episodes, but for me, you were one of the people that I would get on Facebook and just wait for the fucking
he's dead.
RIP fucking posts. Like,
and I was like cool with that. Like I'm surprised I'd made it this long in life.
And it's so funny the unique way that
Yeah.
you actually got your shit together. But I mean, that's you.
And then
that's
like,
you. I wouldn't expect anything different.
it's like I think like it's really fucked up how we went about it, and I wouldn't. Like, I used to kind of brag about it, and maybe I
Of
still
course.
romanticize it a little bit. But like we did terrible things, like we ruined a family. But like had that not happened, I would most certainly not be where I'm at today.
And you guys are married today.
Yeah, we are currently married, own a house.
Just had
I've
a
got
kid.
a baby, a 9-week-old baby at home. I've got a job counseling people like us, which is
At a treatment center.
absolutely unheard of because like I feel like such an imposter because like I am one of these dudes, you know?
See that maybe I don't know. For me, when I worked in that kind of environment, I felt like less of an imposter because I knew what I was doing. Like I like who better, and that's how I felt. But when I go to like work regular jobs,
Yeah,
that's when I feel like a fucking
like wait
imposter.
a minute, I don't know. I have nothing to relate to these people about. But like, yeah, so the recovery thing, I never wanted to do it. I refused to do it, but it kind of just kept falling into my lap. So I like hesitantly took the job, and I started out as like just a glorified babysitter, right? And then I got my CDCA, and they're like, well, you can take this job as a counselor. You'll make almost twice what you make before. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, whatever. And yeah, like it's just weird because like still, if somebody asked me if I want to work in recovery, I was like, no, man, why would I want to do that to myself? But it is like some days it's the best job in the world. Some days I'm like, why do I do this?
Super frustrating.
But like the payoffs and like the successes kind of override all the shitty clients who like just bitch. And it's a solid reminder of like where I was, what I am. So I don't really work. I've done my like recovery steps that are suggested, right? And I think highly of them, and I will suggest that to anybody. But like I've kind of like laid off the AA scene as much as I used to, but like that I think that is my purpose in life, to like listen, I was like a bottom of the barrel junkie who didn't give a fuck about anything.
I can confirm
yeah,
that.
I didn't give a fuck about anything. And like, so if somebody like me can do it, like anybody can get clean, man.
100%.
It's not super difficult.
No, you just gotta take suggestions.
And that's what nobody wants to do. Nobody wants to be,
all.
and just a little bit of faith and the hopes that like, okay, if I do this, this will work.
Yep.
But that's literally the only thing I did differently, is that like I just did what people told me to do in order to stay clean. That sound easy and like stupid, that'll never work. But somehow like when you do those things, I haven't like touched a drug since then. So like
something happened.
If it ain't broke, I'm not gonna try to fix it, man. Yeah, I'm not unique, and like they say it works for thousands and thousands of people. So like, who am I to think like
argue.
I'm different or special now?
Well, congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. It's a weird life I live now.
I appreciate you sharing your story.
No problem, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
All right.